Welcome to downtown St. Louis and St. Louis Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest. For the Wilson boys, it's been a tough go for the Pirates. Craig Wilson and Jack Wilson, they are 5-15 in their first 20 games, the worst start in the past 50 years for the Pirates. Meanwhile, Chris Carpenter off to a very good start. He has had 4 starts for the Cardinals this year. Opening day, he went to 1-0. His ERA right now stands at 1.67. He's 2-1 on the season. First 2 starts, Alberbowski, were on the road, but yet this guy has just picked up where he left off a year ago.
Well, he was a road warrior last year, his Cy Young Award, but his last 3 have been so special. Only 1 run allowed, and currently has an 11-inning scoreless streak going.
And his last time out, he was absolutely brilliant. With my partner, Alberbowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the Helitech Sports Desk and St. Louis Cardinals baseball. For the Pirates, it's been a rough start, and for the St. Louis Cardinals, they're winning series, and that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. They've won every series but one, the sweep that they had in Chicago. But if you come out here and take 2 out of 3, and of course these Pirates, they have had a tough go in the early going, but they are not that bad a ball club, and they have their best starter going against Carpenter, the Cardinals' best tonight.
That's Oliver Perez going for the Pirates. He won the 1 game for the Pirates last week at PNC Park. Of course, the Cardinals took 2 of 3. Let's break down what has happened for Cy Young Award winners after they win that award. We'll go back to 2002. Randy Johnson only goes 6-8 in an injury-plagued season. Eric Gagne, 45 saves, so he was outstanding again. The Rocket with the great ERA, but only a 13-8 record. And, of course, you have Chris Carpenter. Now, what does he do for an encore performance? Of course, he is healthy, Al, and that's the key.
Well, just like Clemens last year, he got very little run support. Very easily, Carpenter could be 4-0. But you got to go out there, pitch your game, and hopefully it is a team game that your teammates will get you some run support.
One thing we do know is that the pitching has been there, starting 5 for the St. Louis Cardinals. What's in question at this point, the bats, and in particular, the outfield help in the lineup. We'll talk about that when we come back. Cardinals and Pirates just around the corner on FSN. First ever visit for the Pirates to the brand new Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. One thing we have learned about the Cardinals so far, the offense is a little bit of a question mark. As a team, Al, they're hitting .252, but the outfielders, no doubt about it, they've got to pick it up.
Obviously, and you know Jim Edmonds in center field will do that. There is concern in right field, and you knew left field was going to be a revolving door, but right now it doesn't look that good with the worst offense batting average in the major leagues.
It's a tough test tonight for the Cardinals. They'll get Oliver Perez a record of 1-2. Chris Carpenter reverse it. He's at 2-1. Joel Goldberg right after this timeout. Then Cardinals baseball coming up.
A bird's eye view of Busch Stadium from the arch. Welcome back as we get you ready for the Cardinals and Pirates. Joel Goldberg at the Helitech Sports Desk. Cardinals off to a decent start this year, but no one hotter than the defending National League and American League champions. Ozzie Guillen's team has won 8 in a row. The White Sox on a roll. And Phil Garner's Astros, the cream of the crop so far in the National League, led by Roy Oswalt and Lance Berkman. The Astros have won 3 in a row. They also are 13-5, playing some great baseball. Just got done sweeping the Pirates. One other team to mention, Detroit, is 12-7. They've won 5 in a row. As for all 3 of those teams, the Cardinals will face the Tigers, the Astros, as well as the White Sox this year. Tonight, it's the Pirates, Cardinals, and Pittsburgh coming up on FSN Midwest. Dan and Al with the call coming up after this, live from Busch Stadium.
Glad you're with us here on FSN along with Al Rabosky. I'm Dan McLaughlin. There's a look at Mark Halsey, the executive producer of Fox Sports Net, with his lovely wife. Enjoying the ball game tonight. We hope that the rain will stay away. The Pirates lineup, their batting order brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Nate McLeod will lead it off, followed by Jack Wilson and then Jason Bay. 8 home runs in his career against the Cardinals. Craig Wilson will back cleanup, then Burnitz, Randa, Sanchez, Cota, and Perez. That's a look at the Pirates lineup going against the reigning Cy Young Award winner from '05, and that is Chris Carpenter of the St. Louis Cardinals, who was brilliant, Al, his last time out.
Vintage in 8 shutout innings. He has an active 11-inning scoreless streak going right now, and he's pitching outstanding.
And McLeod looks at a strike on the outside corner, and we're underway. Mike Riley is our home plate umpire. Jeff Kellogg at first, Jerry Meals at second, Andy Fletcher over at third. 1 ball, 1 strike on McLeod.
Carpenter really put on a clinic in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure for all the young Pirate pitchers, it was a thrill to watch him pitch.
Another curveball and a beauty in there for a strike at the knees, and it's 1-2 as he picked up his 1,000th career strikeout against the Pirates in his last start at PNC Park. It's 73 degrees, and that one catches the leadoff man. And McLeod will take first, so Carpenter loses him on the 1-2 pitch. Defense behind Chris tonight is brought to you by Auto Tires. Taguchi, Edmonds, and Encarnacion in the outfield. Roland, Eckstein, Luna, and Pujols on the infield. And Yadier Molina, who's struggling offensively, is behind the plate for St. Louis. See, 8 double plays started by that man, Scott Rowland. And just like at this time last year, we talked about the heel or the foot injury for Albert Pujols, and then it became a non-issue. We really don't talk much about the shoulder right now for Scott Rowland. It's kind of become an afterthought.
Not at all, and Jack Wilson could be accommodating and hit into his Rowland's 9th double play turn. But Jack Wilson's on a tear. He was 5 for 11 in the weekend series against Houston.
He's hitting .353 overall, 4 homers and 11 RBIs. He can do that normally very well. He was one of the top sacrifice men a few years ago, and then he has put on some weight, he's put on some muscle, and started driving the baseball, so he's not sacrificing nearly as much as he did a couple of seasons ago.
Gained about 20 pounds, and it's translated in power numbers, as he already has 1/2 of his total home runs of a year ago.
Leads all National League shortstops in hits. And this one is hit out to shallow center field. Edmonds for the first out. And that'll bring in Jason Bay.
Their best hitter, and he's been on a tear against the Cardinals. .421, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs in his last 4 games in St. Louis.
This lineup for Pittsburgh for the 2nd straight day, facing a 20-game winner from '05. Yesterday, Roy Oswalt allowed just 1 run over 7 innings as Houston won 7-2, and the Astros are off to a very good start. Houston leading the division by a 1.5 games over Cincinnati, 2 in front of St. Louis. Chicago 2.5 games out. Milwaukee 4.5, and Pittsburgh at 5-15 already, 9 games out. Here comes a 1-0 pitch. Ground ball hit to Rowland. Can they turn 2? It'll be tough. On to first and safe is Jason Bay. Good play by Scott Rowland on the short hop, and pretty good turn there by Luna.
Luna relay throw to Albert, and Albert knew it was going to be a close play. Tried to cheat a little bit. And you see a little bit of a low throw as Rowland was going backwards. Didn't have his momentum as he goes to the line, kind of falling backwards. Didn't have as much on the throw as normally he would. And Luna, standing flat-footed, couldn't get a lot on the return.
Al, how much of it is in the back of the minds of these players of the Pirates to go into Luna maybe a little bit harder because of what happened with Castillo a year ago?
Well, I think you got to play the game naturally. When you try to do something, when you try and gear it up just for, for one player or something like that, that's when you run the risk of getting hurt. You should play the game hard all the time, and it's amazing how when you do so, your body protects you and will compensate.
Of course, it was Luna trying to break up a double play a year ago in August at Busch Stadium. And he tore up the knee of Castillo, who is now back healthy in '05.
It's kind of a similar play where you see Luna didn't really move much, and Castillo didn't either. After you return that throw, you better get out of the way. He doesn't like Moss.
Here comes a 2-0 pitch. They have invaded us, Al.
Sometimes you get hungry, but you don't always like what goes around your mouth. It's not chocolate covered.
Here comes a 2-1 pitch to Craig Wilson. Instead, a look over at Bay. Bill Finley, the groundskeeper of the St. Louis Cardinals, was asked to spray for moths in anticipation of that tonight and for the remainder of this homestand. A 10-game homestand for the Cardinals, their longest of the season. They had 2 10-gamers a year ago. That's called foul.
Sometimes those moths lay dormant in the turf, and then the eggs come out.
And that's exactly what Bill was told by none other than Mr. Pratt to Mr. La Russa to Bill.
And come out here, you've got these lights and kind of pop up.
Of course, the Mississippi's not too far away. Yeah, there's going to be bugs in the summertime here, Al.
Really?
I'm telling you. Runner is going, a throw down to second. They got him. They got him. Molina guns him down. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. Bottom of the first here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And Tony La Russa is dealing with the flies down there, the bugs. Let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines lineup for Tony. Eckstein, Edmonds, and Pujols in the first. Roland, Encarnacion, Molina, Luna, Taguchi, and Carpenter. 27 home runs for Albert Pujols against this Pirates club. Our Rico starter is Oliver Perez.
Tough start for Perez. He did win his last game against the Cardinals. And one of the things he did a little different in that game is he kept his fastball down. He can normally rack up a lot of strikeouts. He only had 2 in that ball game, but he was more effective in retiring hitters.
As the Cardinals as a team struggle offensively, this guy has not. That's David Eckstein. 5 for 25 to start the season, but since then, 18 for 48, nearly 400. Average overall at 315, and the 0-1 pitch is pulled into left field, and a base hit for David Eckstein. So leadoff hit, and it brings in Edmonds, who will bat in the second spot in this lineup tonight. The auto tire defense for Pittsburgh. Bain, McLuth, and Burnitz in the outfield. Randa, Wilson, Sanchez, and Craig Wilson over at first. Humberto Cota is behind the plate. You see those 5 errors already for Jack Wilson. That's a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, he's a much better defensive shortstop than those 5 errors would indicate.
This is kind of interesting here tonight, seeing Edmonds with the lefty on the mound, and he's batting second. And as Hal McRae was saying during the pregame show, this is probably the best spot in baseball to be in, hitting in front of the man on deck, Albert Pujols. Edmonds hits it fair on the bag. They're going to go for 2, and Eckstein is out. So a double play. 3-6 on the double play.
It's this little number with Craig Wilson standing right at the bag. Fields the ball, then return throw. Of course, the force out has already made it first, so Jack Wilson will have to tag Eckstein in order to complete the double play.
Pretty close there at second base.
The leg gets in there ahead, but normally you apply the tag. They kind of assume and just give the out to the defense.
Last week that Pujols homered off Perez. Down the left field line. Has he done it again? It is gone. Home run for Albert Pujols, number 12 on the year. And he does it against Perez again. And he has tied Mark McGwire as far as home runs are concerned on the Cardinals' all-time home run list. 220.
He and Edmonds were kind of in a race for that. Low breaking ball, almost right towards the end of the bat, but enough to sweep it over the boards into the outfield for the home run. And once again, Pujols just doing it all. 27 RBIs. Home runs and RBIs lead the National League.
Hit to short. Wilson will gather it in and retires Scott Rowland, who had 3 hits yesterday. As the Cardinals were shut down against Maddox, they get to Perez early on tonight.
Look at the left thigh of Pujols on this home run swing. He's out of front just a little bit. And here you can see where he catches right towards the end of the bat, out in front a little bit, but the hands are always back. Hands are inside the ball. And another home run for Albert Pujols. What a start and what an April.
12 home runs, 27 driven in for Albert Pujols. And now that looking at that, the freeze of that replay, it didn't look like it was that bad of a pitch from Perez, kind of low and away, and yet he's able to pull it and yank it out of the ballpark.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a misnomer when everybody says that every pitch you hit out has to be a mistake or a bad pitch. And pitches that are down can go out too when you're as gifted as Albert is.
You said a key. He kept his hands back, and he is just tremendous at doing that. Even when he's fooled, still making contact, either spoiling a pitch or go back to the game on Saturday when he picked up a base hit up the middle, as Wilson does so here. He was fooled on it, but yet still guided it into center field.
Well, and we've talked about at times with Albert, that is the type of swing that so many other people pull that ball foul. But yet the way he centers a ball, even when he's out in front, he'll pull it down the line, but he can keep it fair.
How many home runs in this new ballpark has he hit down the left field line and just fair enough, as that one was hugging the corner again? It's amazing. 389-foot shot off the bat of Pujols.
It's also 50 feet to spare. Down
Plenty
the left
deep.
field line.
That's not the question, Mark.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Dan, when you look at it, every ballpark, and even Old Busch Stadium, even before they moved in the fences, it's still, you could hit the ball down either line. It is the shortest part of the ballpark.
As Burnitz hits this one to the opposite way, Taguchi is there, makes the catch. Back to first, Craig Wilson. Cardinals have just introduced a new in-game picnic area. Was introduced on Friday. Homer's Landing is located just behind the right field bleachers and includes reserved seating that features all-you-can-eat hot dogs, brats, and nachos. Beer and soda out there as well. 345-9500. Press 1 to order your tickets now. And here is Joe Randa, hitting just .231 on the year. I was talking with Jim Edmonds prior to the game about the ballpark, and I asked him, with all the home runs that we're seeing, from your perspective, being in the outfield, seeing how the ball carries, is it a hitter's park? He said no. He said it's a lot more spacious than you think.
Right.
Here comes an 0-1 pitch.
You know, the majority of them have gone to left field. They're not out in the power alleys. They're more down the line from inside the bullpen to the left field line.
Al McRae thought right center might have a little bit of a jump that way. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. This one is hit out to left field. So Taguchi. 2 outs, and it brings in Freddie Sanchez. And this guy's off to a good start, hitting .342, pair of home runs, and 5 driven in.
Like yesterday, 2 for 2 off the bench with a double and a solo home run against Houston. He's hit .385 as he's hit safely in 21 of his last 22 starts. Goes back to last season.
Pirates not only struggling altogether, 5-15, but in particular on the road. They have not played good baseball whatsoever for Jim Tracy in his first season.
They've struggled with their starting pitching, but their bullpen is very deep. They have a lot of firepower and can score a lot of runs. A much improved defense, but Jim Tracy, they had a winless first week on the road. Then they've had to play some of the toughest teams in this National League Central, particularly the Cardinals and Houston.
And here comes a 1-1 pitch. Down the left field line, Taguchi on the move. Can he get there? No. Cuts it off. Can he get it back in time? And he will. Good play by So Taguchi out and left, and that saves a run. A double for Sanchez. It'll bring in Cota. And Craig Wilson had to stop at third.
See, this ball goes down here. You knew it was going to get down, but to cut it off there, stretches out, hauls it in the corner. Just kind of got underneath it a little bit, beats the defensive alignment, but there's a nice play by So to keep runners at second and third. You know Carpenter walks very few, and how few times have we seen in the last couple of years that he would allow 3 hits in an inning. That's why he can give up 2 hits, and he can still throw up a 0.
Cota with runners at second and third. The pitcher Perez on deck. Cota hitting .211, no home runs. He's driven in 2 on the season.
2 for 15 with runners in scoring position, a 133 average. Drummett, their number 1 catcher, still on the DL.
Here comes a 1-0 pitch. Curveball. Beauty in there for a strike, and it's 1-1.
This is when you expect Carpenter to really turn it up another notch. He's lucky it was that they did not score, and so you'll see him attack hitters.
The 1-1 pitch. Another curveball, the check swing. And I believe they want an appeal, and they do get it with the first base umpire, and it's ruled a ball. He held up. 2 balls, 1 strike. Carpenter comes into play tonight with the 4th best ERA in the National League at 1.67. 8 scoreless innings on Wednesday at PNC Park in a very quick game. Just 1 run allowed in his last 3 starts. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
1 run allowed means 1-1 during that time with 1 no decision.
Yep. Had a chance to win every single game he's been a part of.
But if you're going to win, you've got to have these situations here, runners at second and third, and put up a 0.
Curveball, a check swing again, and it's a full count. First base open, you do have the pitcher on deck.
And if you're the pitcher of Carpenter's ilk,
you go at him.
This is the guy you want, and then you've got one out that Nick's frame. You got to believe he's better than every 8th place hitter in the game.
You can see that he has dominated Pittsburgh in his career. Called third strike, and he got him. And it backed right into the zone. Cota goes down on strikes. And the second inning, bottom half is coming up. Tonight's telecast from FSN Midwest is available in HD on Charter Communications Channel 792 in the St. Louis area and DirecTV Channel 95. Crystal clear, high definition. Juan Encarnacion hit second in the lineup yesterday against Greg Maddux, and he drops down now in the lineup to the 5th spot. Encarnacion, Molina, and Luna. And Juan hits this one out to center field, may bloop in there for a hit, and it does. Cardinals' 3rd hit already against Perez.
Good to see Juan getting some flares and quails and all those positive things.
Anything.
And yeah, I mean, they're not pretty, but they look like a line drive in the box score.
And this is another guy that has got to pick it up a little bit. Yadier Molina hitting just 180 on the season.
See what his average is with runners in scoring position, though?
.556.
Yeah. I mean, so if you're going to want to struggle, that's not the area you want to struggle in. Encarnacion not in scoring position yet, but hit and run with him, do a couple little things.
And sometimes Tony will do that just to get a hitter going. It forces him to swing the bat, and you don't even worry about it.
Yeah, one of the reasons you might not do it with Perez is sometimes he can be a little wild, and other times he can produce a lot of swing and misses.
A year ago, it was 1 for 32 to start for Yadier Molina. Here comes a 2-0 pitch. And it's 3-0 with Luna on deck.
Well, you could just tell that Encarnacion is bothering Perez. He's spending way too much time watching the runner at first base, splitting his concentration and falling behind the count to the hitter at the plate.
4 straight, Molina's on. We're just joining us. Albert Pujols homered in the first. His 12th home run, 27th driven in this season. Along with Albert Bosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Our game presented in high definition here on FSN. And here is Hector Luna with Miles on the bench tonight. Luna's hitting .375. A homer and 4 RBIs. By the way, those 12 home runs this month, the career best and a club record for April. He had 8 as a rookie. And Luna hits it just foul. The major league record for home runs in April is 13. Ken Griffey Jr. back in '97. And Luis Gonzalez also did it with the Diamondbacks back in 2001. Runners in scoring position for Luna, not too shabby either. 4 for 6 with 3 RBIs and a double.
Pinch hit double in yesterday's ball game. His first pinch hit of the season, but Luna in part-time play has made the most of it. And a lot of it with the bat.
Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Up the middle, that's a base hit. Encarnacion being waved home. He'll score, and it's 2-0 Cardinals. Hector Luna delivers.
Hit it hard enough, and it finds a hole up the middle into center field. Encarnacion comes home with that second run, trying to come in on him, and totally missing location. Is down and away, and he just sends it back up the middle and through.
And now it's Sho Taguchi hitting .209 on the season. Runners at first and second, still nobody out. And a fastball is in there for a strike. So Taguchi gets the start in left field tonight.
Had a multi-hit game, his first of the year, last week in Pittsburgh.
You're the Pirates, Al, and I'm sure you've played on teams that obviously have struggled. You are 5-15. You've got certainly a starter that you're counting on this year, and already you're down 2 runs here in the second against the defending National League champs. It's almost like here we go again.
Well, you're exactly right. Remember, they haven't won for a long time, so you get into patterns of feeling sorry for yourself.
Out to right center field. That drops for a hit. They're going to wave in Molina. Here comes the throw. It is not in time, and Taguchi delivers. Third hit in the inning, and it's 3-0 Cardinals. And how about the outfielders delivering here tonight? Encarnacion with a base hit and a run scored, and now this one from Sho Taguchi.
It's down and away. Good piece of hitting, using his hands to go with the pitch. Lifting out there. Good base running by Molina. He had a good read and was off with the pitch, and you know he's going to run as hard as he possibly can. He just doesn't go anyplace. But he scored.
And now it's Chris Carpenter with runners at first and third. The infield will hold the runner at first, and in at third is Joe Randa. Of course, this is where Tony La Russa can be very tricky in what he tries to do with his pitchers. The squeeze play, always an element that comes into mind. The butcher boy, as you like to call it.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes it can be a sign. Other times they'll tell the pitcher that if they charge aggressively from the corners, even if I put the bunt on, you can do the butcher boy. Double hit, foul ball.
And there it's almost like a safety squeeze as Luna wasn't breaking towards the plate.
Right, yeah, you can, you know, with the runners at first and third and nobody out, that runner at third does not have to come blindly or as a suicide mission. He waits and see if the bunt gets down before he can come. And if you get that bunt down, it's tough to defend it. They're even be more than happy for one out and put Taguchi in scoring position.
Right. See Carpenter with 2 sacrifices already this year. A count of no balls and 2 strikes. He's swinging away and fouls it to the right side. With a big crowd on hand here at Busch Stadium.
Beautiful night, maybe some weather coming in late, but we shouldn't have any problem with this game.
Perez is set. Here comes the 0-2. Fouled back. Good rip that time by Carpenter. The other thing that comes into mind, too, you've got 3 runs already, and we talked about Perez being on the mound. Well, also for, at least in the back of the minds of these Pirates, it's Chris Carpenter, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, with already a 3 spot. The 0-2 pitch. Got him on the inside corner. It's the first strikeout for Perez as he racked up a bunch 2 years ago. Chris Carpenter is saying, just let me see that strike zone when I'm on the mound.
Well, that's okay, too, because the Cardinals were expecting some of those pitches to be up in the zone from Perez. I mean, that's one of the reasons why they already have 5 hits in this game and have the 3-0 lead. Last time out, he kept the ball down and they pounded it to the ground.
You think about a squeeze here with David Eckstein. He is already 1 for 1 swinging a hot bat.
You've got to always think about it, and it just puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
First pitch to him. This is just outside. Eckstein single to left his first time up.
Further you fall behind the count, more pressure it puts on the defense and the likelihood of some type of running game.
See their possible verbal signal to Luna. It's not. And it's a pitch that's low and in the dirt. 2-0. Edmonds on deck.
Just keep on falling behind. Perez, really just keeps on worrying about that runner at first. I'd be worrying at the runner at third and the hitter.
He is set. There's all kinds of room into left center field for Eckstein. He takes a strike. 2-1. You see the in-game box. We're only in the bottom of the second, and the Cardinals have a lead of 3-0.
Pretty active, though, isn't it?
Sure is.
Nice to see your leadoff man up for the second time.
Of course, the Cardinals were shut down by Greg Maddux, who was just terrific yesterday afternoon as the Cubs avoided the sweep. He's now 2-0 against the Cardinals this season, and Al, his ERA is .99. He was something else.
He's been that way for a long time.
Here's a 2-1. The squeeze is on down the first base line. Eckstein may beat it out. Out at first, but the run is brought in. That's Luna to make it 4-0, and an RBI for David Eckstein, his 6th.
Such a weapon for the Cardinals last season, executing the suicide squeeze, and here the first time this year. Saha Perez falls to the third base side, so he bunted down the first base side. So you look at the other pitcher going out there. I thought he was safe when he went down here. The underhand pass took a long time to develop. And Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire, called David out, but it looked like he had already crossed paths.
He was safe.
We'll take the run.
4-0 Cardinals. Here's Edmonds. First pitch to Jimmy is skied out to shallow left. Be taken by Bay. And the Cardinals add to their lead as they pick up 3 more. So it's 4-0 St. Louis. Who's raising the bar? Brought to you by Singular Wireless. Who is the best prospect in the Cardinals minor league system? You can text your vote to 42957. And it's our Who's Raising the Bar question. And one of the answers was Rick Ankiel. The Cardinals have to make a decision on him coming up. As Barry Weinberg has indicated that May 1st they're going to take another look at his knee and see if he can come back and play this season. John Gall is off to a good start in the minor leagues. As Carpenter goes back to work against his counterpart, Oliver Perez. Cardinals lead it 4-0. Perez and then the top of the order for the Pirates. A weak ground ball. Carpenter will go cover the bag, barehanded by Albert. And that's the first down.
Nice play between Albert and Carpenter. Wasn't an easy play, kind of no man's land, a little Nubber.
And Nate McLouth will be the hitter, the center fielder tonight. And Duffy is on the bench. McLouth was hit by a pitch to start the game. You think about Greg Maddux, though, yesterday, Al, and what he has been able to do in an era of small ballparks and the steroid era and the ball jumping everywhere, and yet he makes it dance everywhere. And he's got an outside shot at 350 wins to spend, depending on how many more years he wants to pitch.
Well, if he wants to pitch a couple years, he's going to have that shot easy.
I mean, you think he's got, 15 per. That gets him there.
Well, what was it? Last year he had that streak of about 16 straight years at 15. Had it broken. I can't remember. It's 23, 24 wins against the Cardinals in his career now.
2 balls and a strike on the Pirates' leadoff man, Nate McLouth. And he hits this one out to right. Encarnacion dives and he makes the catch.
Had a real good jump on that ball. And that's how you win the fans over. Make some plays like this. He's on the move. He comes in. He dives for it. You can see the first base umpire kind of like was just sitting there waiting for him. As he doesn't lose control of the ball. And then he brought up the ball, took it out before they could signal the out.
And it brings in Jack Wilson. Tony La Russa has indicated to anybody that wants to listen that when you watch Juan Encarnacion, he's not playing which seems to be with a ton of emotion, but that's not the case. He said the guy is probably trying too hard, and that's why he is struggling so much trying to make an impression on his teammates and with the fans here in St. Louis.
And the interesting thing is, I've known him for a long time. I really, hadn't had a lot of conversation with him, but I find him more congenial than what I thought he was going to be.
This one is hit to Luna. Over to Albert Pujols in a 1-2-3 inning. A little help defensively in right, and coming up, that man again, Pujols back in the first with his 12th already in the month of April, looking for 13. He'll lead it off. If you're still looking for Cardinals baseball tickets, the newly renovated Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark brings you winning Cardinals baseball packages. Choose from 2 packages, both with Busch Stadium view rooms and a free make-your-own Fred Bird from the Build-A-Bear Workshop here at Busch Stadium. The number to call is 421-1776, and here is Albert,
who's the sales manager. Double dipper. Pitching coach.
Dave Duncan.
Very good. Boy, you got a memory.
I remember you said it just like it was yesterday.
Or at least Friday.
Here's Albert Pujols. He is 1 for 1 with his home run. Pujols is jammed a bit. Near the Cardinal dugout is their play for Wilson. He makes the basket catch for the first out. And that'll bring in the third baseman, Scott Rowland. Oliver Perez from Mexico grew up idolizing Fernando Valenzuela.
From Culiacan. Fernando from Las Mochis.
Rowland sitting on the curveball, drives it out to left. Enough off the top of the wall. Almost got out, and Rowland ends up at second base. The second day in a row, the top of the fence for Scott Rowland.
He had 3 doubles yesterday and just missed a home run off of Maddux by about a foot. This one was inches. And it's right off the top of the padding, and it bounced back into the playing field. So just a rocket. Remember, he had about 1,100 feet and outs in a game in Pittsburgh where he just crushed the ball and had nothing to show for it. Here is a ringing double.
Well, that's right off the top of the wall, and now it's Juan Encarnacion. It's a nice round of applause from the fans after his catch in the top of this third inning. We're in the bottom half, and the Cardinals lead it 4-0. Juan singled and scored his first time up.
Breaking ball in under the hands. 1 for 19. He got off to that horrendous start in the series in Philadelphia. In our first game, remember, he was 0 for 9, I think, in one game. His Cardinals stranded 13 runners.
He left 9 on, and he
left 9 on.
Right. Yeah. Hits it out to center field on the button, but right at the center fielder. He can't catch a break. That was hard hit.
Well, first time up with a little bleeder, and he gets a base hit. That time he hit a ball like a man, and you have nothing to show for it.
And here is Molina. Yadier walked and scored, part of that 3-run second inning for the Cardinals. Runner at second base is Scott Rowland. He reached with the 1-out double. Molina out to left. Pretty well hit. Bay going back at the track near the wall, and he makes the catch. Cardinals strand their second runner of the night. Scott Rowland inches away from making this 5-0 off the top of the wall. Fourth inning coming up from Busch. Side of Al Raboski and our Bud Productions crew. Cardinals have a lead of 4-0 on 6 hits tonight as we move to the top of the fourth. And Chris Carpenter on the mound. Carpenter is allowed just 2 hits. Jason Bay hit into a fielder's choice, then was erased, caught stealing. And into the top of the first, and he looks at a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. This guy can hit.
He can hit, and this guy can pitch.
Out to deep right center field. Edmonds on the move. He'll look up, and it is gone. Pirates on the board. Opposite field home run for Jason Bay. His 5th on the year.
A hanging breaking ball that got underneath. 3rd home run that Carpenter is allowed to a Pittsburgh batter in his career. Jason Bay is a real legitimate hitter, their best. The breaking ball, and you see where it ends up. Out over the plate, got the arms extended. Leans back, steps into this. Saw him double clutch as he recognized breaking ball. Hand stayed back, pulled the trigger. I guess Edmonds felt like he couldn't get back there. It just was hit so hard.
Broken bat left side. Scott Rowland. 1 away. It was 14 straight innings, scoreless baseball put together there by Carpenter. That's been snapped with the solo home run.
Start a new one.
And it brings in Burnitz. Burnitz fly to left. First time up. 1 on, nobody on, and the pitch is taken for a strike. We're at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. Rain has stayed away. Along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, our Bud Productions crew. And glad you're with us here on FSN Midwest. It's game 1 of a 3-game series as the Cardinals are in the middle of their longest homestand of the season, 10 games. Here's a 1-1 pitch with the infield putting the shift on, and the outfield shading Burnitz to pull. A ball and 2 strikes. Joe Patini inside that Cardinals dugout helps set the defense. They'll have a meeting like tonight before game 1. There's a look at Joe of a series, and he'll get with Dave Duncan trying to figure out how they're going to pitch the batters, and then Joe many times will help set that defense, in particular the middle infield. I was talking to Joe about it. He said the best thing that ever happened to him in his playing career was getting traded at the end of it to the Cardinals organization. Now, he did play briefly in the major leagues, mostly with San Francisco, but he was traded to Louisville, the Cardinals affiliate at the time, and he has been a manager in the Cardinals system and a longtime coach, and got the call from Tony La Russa, and happy to be back up in the major leagues. Joe Patini down there.
The pitching chart where every pitcher is designated by a different color. Every ball that is hit off the pitcher. We'll keep a book of the hitter, and also where the defensive alignment, where every, see how that chart there, where every ball or ground ball is hit and a different color designating which pitcher it was hit off of. And after a while, it tells a pattern.
Then you also have the video that is broken down pitch by pitch, at bat after at bat, with Chad Blair, the Cardinals video coach. He used to work in a pit. Now he's got an unbelievable room to work in.
Sure. Well, it's still a pit, but it's a pretty nice one.
Sure is.
Wouldn't want to think of how many tens of thousands of dollars of equipment around it. And it's big tens.
Plasma screens, and it's all computerized down there. As you see the pitch speed for Carpenter. And this at bat, 84 the lowest, 91 the highest. Pretty good battle here with Carpenter and Jeremy Burnitz. The 3-2 pitch. And Carpenter's going to win it. Hit out to left center. That will carry to Edmonds. Two outs. That brings in Randa. This date in baseball history, Sandy Koufax strikes out 18 in a Dodgers 10-2 rout of the Cubs back in 1962. It's brought to you by our friends at Schnucks. You grew up in Southern California. Do you watch him pitch?
Sure I did. Yeah. Sandy for about 6 years couldn't be any better.
Just over Eckstein and out to left field. So 2-out base hit for Joe Randa. And it brings in the second baseman, Freddie Sanchez. Carpenter has allowed 2 hits in the inning. The home run to Bay to start it off. The 9th home run, by the way, in 35 games for Bay against St. Louis. And then the base hit there by Randa. Now it's Sanchez.
Sanchez is just one of these guys that haven't seen a lot about, but every time you see him, he's usually on base after a hit.
And a 1-0 pitch is ripped out to left field. That'll drop in front of Sotaguchi. And it's back-to-back base hits, the 3rd allowed in this inning by Carpenter. A couple pitches that have been up and back-to-back hitters.
I can see Molina's just knows Carpenter's just not as comfortable as we're accustomed to seeing him. So try and get him to get the ball down a little bit. Still your 2 outs. You got the 8th place hitter up. Remember the hanging breaking ball that was Jason Bay's home run pitch. Now you're going to see another one at the top of the zone. Kind of belt high, kind of inner third, not in on the hands.
Well, as the Pirates have struggled getting wins, they have not struggled hitting home runs. 28 now after the one by Bay in the first 21 games this season. Dakota, his first time up, stranded 2 runners. That ended the top half of the second as he struck out. They've already been swept in a series twice. The 1-0 pitch. That's past a diving David Eckstein. Edmonds will come up with it. And the only play is to get it back in the infield. The runner will score, and that cuts the lead in half. It's 4-2. So 3 consecutive hits with 2 outs against Carpenter.
You don't see that often, especially when it's at the tail end of the batting order. But this team, they are not that far behind. And just because you pitched a great game against them last time, another pitch up out over the middle of the plate, and just hit right back up the middle.
Almost caught the runner, Randa.
Yeah, I was wondering where he was going. He almost slowed up and almost caught him on the heel.
And so now it's a 4-2 game, and Oliver Perez is the hitter. Runners at first and second. As we play here in the top of the 4th, and Perez going to try to bunt his way on. It's a beauty. That'll test Roland. Bare hands, no play for him. So Perez bunts his way on to load him up for the top of the order, Nate McLouth. That's 4 consecutive hits against Carpenter.
just smart on the part of Oliver Perez. Showing bunt, dropping it down, and just deadening it to where Roland had no play. Extend the inning to McLeod, whose his forte in the early part of this season has been as a pinch hitter. But 0 for 2 here tonight, and he'll come up with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
So a long walk there by the home plate umpire to break up the conference with Dave Duncan and Molina and Carpenter. Lead has been cut in half. It's now 4-2. As the inning started with a home run by Bay to right center field. His 5th on the year and his 10th RBI. Then Carpenter will get Wilson a ground out. Burnitz in a 10-pitch at bat to fly out to center. You wonder if that took a little gas out of Chris Carpenter. And then Randa single, Sanchez the single, Cota single, and a bunt hit by Perez. And you just saw the numbers there from McLeod with the bases loaded. He is lined out and was hit by a pitch his first time up. 2 outs, bases loaded, and it is pulled fair to Albert. He'll take it himself. Pirates strand the bases loaded, but they pick up 2 runs against Carpenter. Midway through the 4th, and it's 4-2 St. Louis. Well, Friday night you can get a look around the major leagues with the FSN Baseball Report. We're covering every team all season long. Highlights, interviews, and analysis you won't get anywhere else. The FSN Baseball Report, Friday at 6, only here on FSN Midwest. Hector Luna, Sho Taguchi, and Chris Carpenter, the bottom of the order against Oliver Perez. Pittsburgh has already stranded 5, and we are in the bottom of the 4th. The Cardinals have left 2 on, but lead it 4-2. Pittsburgh has out hit St. Louis 7-6. We were expecting a pitcher's duel here tonight. Really haven't gotten that as Luna hits the first pitch that he sees out to left. Bay is there. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Perez can be a handful, and sometimes you go out there a little overconfident with your ace on the mound and you get him a couple early runs. You think it's okay, this is going to be an easy victory, and then you shut down your offense, not intentionally. And Perez has something to do with that too.
It was a couple years ago. He had 200 plus strikeouts. He was a guy that could absolutely dominate a lineup, overpower a lineup. But a year ago, in many ways, Al, it was a step back for Oliver Perez, and they would love to see him get back to where he was 2 seasons ago.
I have an injury right here where he broke his big toe in St. Louis out of frustration kicking a laundry cart. But since the beginning of the 2004 campaign, Perez leads all major leaguers with an average of nearly 10 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. 9.96.
He has only struck out 1 tonight. That was Carpenter looking back in the 2nd inning.
I think he's a better pitcher when he doesn't try to strike people out. He tries to just get them out.
The 1-2 pitch is fouled back off the bat of Sho Taguchi, who has an RBI single back in the 2nd. Jim Colburn is the pitching coach for the Pirates, and he said one of the things that we had to concentrate on with Perez is making sure he had a game plan on every pitch. As they went back and looked at tape and evaluated some of his starts, remember, Al, he would drop down sidearm sometimes, and he pitches with that flash, and they said they don't mind that, but just have a game plan, have an understanding of why you're doing it.
Yeah, and, you know, is it to embarrass a hitter, or is it because you want to look that much more flashy yourself?
You go back to the confrontation between he and Pujols last week. The Cardinals down, I think it was 7-0 at that point. And Pujols hit the home run and kind of flipped the bat. And it was 7-1. Normally you wouldn't do that at that time in the game and that score, but I'm sure Albert a little frustrated at the way that Perez carries himself on the mound. But the game has changed. We see that not just from Perez or Pujols, but you see it across the board.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes that gets under the skin of hitters, and they can't wait to hit a home run against you. But sometimes a pitcher will take a hitter out of his element, tries to do too much.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. So Taguchi is 2 for 2. One out base hit for Sho Taguchi brings in Carpenter, with the Cardinals leading 4-2 here in their half of the 4th at Busch Stadium. And we turn to the Affleck trivia question.
Affleck!
What was the last trade between the Cardinals and the Pirates? The last one I can think of was Jack Wilson and Jason Christensen back in 2000.
Right.
As the bunt is down by Carpenter, only play is to go to first for Perez, with the second baseman Sanchez covering.
There's an April Fool's big trade back in the 80s. Vallier, Tony Pena.
Mike LaValliere wound up being a pretty valuable guy for them.
Yeah, Van Slyke and that, and right-handed pitcher that was a good-looking young Mike Dunn, good-looking young pitcher that ended up having arm trouble, but and you got to say it was successful because the Cardinals went out and won that year. Wasn't that Tony had that good a year, but they won.
Last time up, David Eckstein squeezed a run home, and that made it 4-0. Since then, it's now 4-2. Eckstein also singled back in the first.
So we can't drive in a run from second base.
Cardinals picked up a run in the first, 3 in the second. They lead it 4-2. And David takes a ball outside, 2-0 with Edmonds on deck. You know, in years past, as you see Pujols in the dugout, one of the things that Perez would do with a situation like this, Al, you got first base open, and he wouldn't mind walking Eckstein because he could just absolutely dominate left-handed hitters. I mean, he was untouchable, but then last year he started getting tagged by the lefties.
Yeah, last year lefties actually hit higher against him, but this year there's not a left-handed batter who has a hit yet. They're 0 for 10.
Here's a 2-1 pitch, way outside and high, and it's 3-1 on David Eckstein.
Big run out there, 4-2 ball game.
And a full count on David.
Nine pitches and possibly one pitch away from getting through the fourth inning. Cota and Perez going to talk here, all Mexican battery.
And what do they want to do here with David Eckstein with 2 strikes, hitting .275, 1 home run, 1 RBI. And here comes a 3-2 pitch. Got him. Ball third, strike on the inside corner. Cardinals strand their 3rd runner of the night. Cardinals with a lead of 4-2 here in the top of the 5th. We started the broadcast noting that the outfielders had struggled offensively. Well, tonight, Edmonds, Encarnacion, and Sotoguchi have stepped up both at the plate and defensively. One of the great catches we've seen in this game from Juan Encarnacion in right. And he's also chipped in with a run scored and a base hit. Sotoguchi 2 for 2 with an RBI. And the first pitch from Carpenter is strike 2, Jack Wilson. It's part of our Affleck trivia question, we believe.
Jack's 0 for 2 on the night, but his teammates have already banged out 7 hits against Carpenter.
Wilson Bay and Craig Wilson. Here are the Pirates' half of the 5th. Jack Wilson, a 9th round selection by the Cardinals back in 1998. 1-2. You mentioned, Al, that he has gotten a lot stronger. Appendectomy before the beginning of last season. He lost a lot of strength. He lost weight. And he looks much different physically this season. He said it took him to about the All-Star break just to get his weight back, which is tough to do playing every single day.
Every single day, and just a grind. He's a high energy type guy anyway.
2-2 pitch. Carpenter gets him to reach, and that's the first out. We return to the Aflac trivia question here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The last trade between the Cardinals and the Pirates. Christensen to St. Louis for Jack Wilson.
You know, when you're a good ball club like the Cardinals were in there, you could give up top prospects knowing that they have a chance to be a pretty good major leaguer for that, you know, a missing ingredient to a championship club.
And knowing at that time, too, you had obviously Renteria at short, entrenched at that position, and Vigna at second base, so you weren't going to move Wilson. You had Vigna locked up for a couple of seasons.
And, you know, a lot of times with good ball clubs is, look like Mike Riley, the home plate umpire and crew chief, got a foul ball off the hand. But, you know, sometimes those guys that are pretty good ball players in your system really only come up here and become spare parts.
And strike two on Jason Bay, who was homered here to the opposite field last inning. He's 1 for 2. He's got 9 home runs in 35 games against the Cardinals. Good pitch. Couldn't pull the trigger, and he carved him up. And a strikeout for Carpenter. That's number 2 on the night.
Well, sometimes after you have a rough inning, and Carpenter did, giving up a couple runs and 5 hits, you know, you regroup and you kind of reassess things, and you come out there a little bit motivated. And he's going through the heart of the order right here, 2/3 of the way through it.
And now it's Craig Wilson, who is 1 for 2 on the night. He'll take his time getting in there. Cardinals lead it 4-2 here in the top of the 5th. That pitch misses a little low and away. Jeff Suppan against Victor Santos tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, Mark Mulder and Zach Duke. And Duke has been a disappointment so far at 1-2. Mulder is 2-0, Suppan 0-2. And Victor Santos is 1-3. Here's a look at Soup as he was pushed back a day because of the off day last week.
You look at just the almost like an attitude adjustment. Carpenter this inning much more aggressive, getting the ball, attacking hitters, not wasting as much time, where last inning there was like a little bit of indecision, giving up all those hits, and maybe outwardly displayed that he was human to these Pirate hitters.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Catches the outside corner. 2-2 with 2 outs, nobody on. The Cardinals leading 4-2. And Wilson is seeing all kinds of playing time for the Pirates as Sean Casey is injured and on the DL. 2-2 pitch. Reaches for it, fouls it away. Sean Casey, a Pittsburgh native that was traded from Cincinnati to the Pirates. They picked up Dave Williams.
Last pitch was a cutter. Wilson fouled off. Didn't want the cutter, didn't want the fastball inside, didn't want it away. Curveball.
A check swing, did he go? No, he did not. And it's 3-2.
Sometimes, as Molina, you know, instead of asking for the appeal right away, you know, went and got the ball, tagged the runner, then they asked for the appeal. Sometimes when you delay in asking right away, that those base umpires don't give it, you know, because they think you're kind of showing up, or the home plate umpire and crew chief isn't trying to readily agree with it.
So first walk handed out by Carpenter, and it brings in Jeremy Burnitz, who twice has flied out. First time to left, second time to center, 0 for 2 on the night. And Burnitz is a guy that could tie it up in a hurry. 300 plus career home runs. Carpenter got 2 outs last inning and then ran into trouble. Gave up 4 consecutive hits.
That all started after a flyout by Burnitz. You said a 10-pitch at bat.
And time is called as this will be pitch number 83 coming. Now time called by Molina. So 82 on the night, 51 strikes, 31 balls for Carpenter. And you can see that he's kind of gutting through these last couple of innings, and you can see the same thing happening with Sidney Ponson over the weekend on Saturday. Didn't have his best stuff, and yet gutted through it with a little help from Scott Rowland along the way. Only 12 of 24 first pitch strikes for Carpenter tonight.
I've always said good pitchers can win when they don't have their good stuff. But a lot of times it's just how you present yourself.
Grounder up the middle. That's a base hit past Luna. And Wilson will stop at second base. It's a base hit for Jeremy Burnitz. That's the 8th hit allowed by Carpenter. And it brings in Randa, who is 1 for 2 with a run scored. One thing about this Pirates team, and we were able to see this last week, they can hit. Pitching has been a problem, and they have a very good bullpen. Starting pitching in particular has been the problem.
Yeah, they have some very talented young arms, but one thing is being talented and then being held accountable. Jim Tracy has a very good staff. They'll get the most out of these young players, but they have to learn how to win.
It's strike 1 on Randa. Line to left and single.
Went, got Sean Casey and Joe Randa, a couple of the veteran guys. Tracy had a lot of patience, but he's tried to tell them that, you know, they played some series, and, you know, you've held your own against some of the best teams in the game. Now, why not start believing in yourself that you can beat those teams?
0-1 pitch. Randa swing and a miss. It's a guy that doesn't strike out all that much. 0-2 the count. Doesn't have great power, and it's not at least the numbers aren't prototypical for a third baseman, but yet he plays solid defense and signed with the Pirates during the offseason.
Make mistakes, and like I said, not a lot of home runs, but some productive doubles.
1-2 is the count. See, just 1 walk this season, only 6 strikeouts, so he's going to put the ball in play more times than not. 4-2 Cardinals here in the 5th, and the 1-2 pitch. Trying to get him to chase with the breaking ball. 2-2.
If you're a pitcher and you know that stat that he doesn't like to walk, then you kind of flirt around the strike zone, but you start falling behind, then you've got to come into him, and he becomes that much more dangerous.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Got him. Strikes out. 3rd strikeout in the game, the 2nd in the inning for Chris Carpenter. And already the Pirates, through their 5, have left 7 runners on. St. Louis leads it 4-2.
The Cardinals still have their 4-2 lead, but it's been a struggle for Carpenter. Pujols gives him an early lead with his major league leading 12th home run. We need to get this guy going, Dan.
Here is Edmonds against Perez, and a fastball misses. Jimmy tonight has hit into a double play and fly to left. You would think, Al, this would be the spot to get somebody going. I mean, if you're hitting in front of Albert Pujols, you're going to see some pitches to hit. Yes?
So far, we're 0 for 4.
I mean, come on.
You know, Encarnacion didn't grasp it. Jim didn't like it a year ago, but hitting under 200, he couldn't really argue with Tony.
Right. That's what he told me before the game. He said, I don't have much of an argument where Tony wants to put me. He said, you know, I don't really prefer this spot in the lineup, but it's not going to bother me. Either way, I got to face him.
He also said, you know, Tony doesn't remember. He told me I'd never hit there. Said this spring, said one thing we know is Jim Edmonds won't hit second.
Well, on April 24th, things have changed.
It's a long season.
That's right. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Jimmy. Up and in for ball 4. Best damn sports show, period. The greatest nightly sports show on TV. Coming up tonight at 10:30 with Chris Rose and the gang. Reggie Bush on the house scandal and IRL star Helio Castroneves.
And the Bush family living in an illegal house. Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush. First pitch to Pujols, who is homered tonight, is strike. Gotta love the fact that Edmonds has been getting on, at least here in the fifth, in front of Albert Pujols. Anytime you see that first base occupied, pitcher's going to have to go after Albert.
And you always say it's a great place to hit because they're going to go after Albert.
And Edmonds will move up on the play.
Should have scored a wild pitch, but Cota couldn't handle that ball down and in at the feet of Albert Pujols. Breaking ball across, gets behind him.
Perez steps off the rubber, now wants to talk it over with his catcher Cota. Okay, we got this guy Pujols. He can really hit. What do we do here?
Just don't give him anything good to hit.
Might be the idea. Sometimes guys going for the idea that I'm not going to put anything close, and then it goes right down the middle.
Yes, it does.
Can't locate.
Remember we saw a 3-0 pitch to Griffey, an unintentional pass go over the fence.
Or Bonds, I remember that one too. Two balls, one strike. Are you almost doing yourself a favor? It sounds crazy, by having the wild pitch and the runner advances and you get first base open. We saw it all the time with McGuire as Albert smokes it out to center field, coming on and not making the catch is McLeod. It'll be an RBI base hit for Albert Pujols.
It was a sure double play if he came up with a catch, because Edmonds just put his head down. He was halfway home when the ball really eluded the center fielder.
So a double and an RBI for Albert.
Ball up over the plate, didn't get it far enough in, but just took enough out of the pitch to where it didn't carry far enough to McLuth out there. Dives for the ball, gets underneath the glove, then he has to retrace his steps, and Edmonds was already in the dugout.
And now it's Scott Rowland with a double already tonight off the top of the wall in left center field, and he's grounded out to short. RBI opportunity here. Cardinals lead it 5-2.
28 RBIs for Pujols now. The Cardinal record for April is 32.
Tony La Russa is looking at Albert Pujols. You know, Al, I watched him. It must have been the second or the third pitch of the at bat. He kind of grabbed his lower back. I don't know if you saw that as well.
Maybe getting out of the way of the wild pitch.
Tony La Russa was taking a look at Albert as he trotted into second base with the double.
You know, you watch him, but you don't look. So please don't tell me he's hurt. And you know Albert's going to say, I'm fine.
1 ball, 1 strike on Scott Rowland. Nobody out. Inside, and it's 2-1.
I love how Scott Rowland takes inside pitches where it doesn't give an inch.
Here comes a 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Manager's dream is to have players like Rowland and Pujols that you know every single day they're going to be in that lineup. They want in that lineup. They're never begging out. Come ready to play every single day. They set an example that is very, very high.
The 2-2. I don't know about you, but when I watch Scott Rowland, I just see a guy that every day, especially at the plate, the defense has been there from day one, but he just seems to be becoming more locked in with every at bat. Would you agree?
Yes, and You know, I mean,
even how he takes pitches.
I like I said, I love it. You know, he tries to intimidate a pitcher just by taking an inside pitch and not flinching. Stands his ground.
And he strikes out.
You know, he can be pitched to very easily. But, you know, he's got enough arm strength and bat speed to where if you make mistakes, he'll crush it.
Juan Encarnacion will be the hitter. Our What's on Tap brought to you by Bud Light. Pirates and Cardinals will come your way with the pregame at 6:30. It'll be Jeff Suppan and Victor Santos. Runner at second is Pujols. Encarnacion just gets a piece a little bit out in front for strike one. Juan tonight has singled and scored back in the second and lined out to center field his last time up.
The odd thing is on the early season, Encarnacion's had the longest hitting streak by a Cardinal, 6 games.
Quietly.
And you know what? He's going to get another RBI right here.
The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
His lone RBI in the year came on a ground out to the right side. Got Albert out there. It's got to kill him to see that .053 batting average with runners in scoring position.
One ball, 2 strikes. And here comes a 1-2. Pulled just foul. One ball, 2 strikes on the Cardinal right fielder Juan Encarnacion as we play here in the bottom of the 5th. St. Louis with a lead of 5-2. 1 run in the first, 3 in the second, and another here in the 5th. Trying to add to it is Juan. Foul back.
Good at bat. No matter what happens, he's up there giving himself a legitimate shot.
Another big crowd here in St. Louis as Hal McRae watches closely.
You know, Hal detected some flaws in Encarnacion's swing right from the get-go, but didn't really have a relationship, felt he had to hold off.
This one has popped up. He was out in front. Who wants it? Oh, goodness. Encarnacion reaches it first.
Well, you said it. Who wants it? And no communication, but that's also the role of a pitcher. You see a couple middle infielders in there, you're the traffic cop. Even if you have to go grab one, but you see Albert says, okay, it's going to be caught. You have to grab one and keep them away, but you start yelling and screaming one of the names as they're both looking up, never felt the presence of the other. So you see Encarnacion upset with himself that he wasn't able to deliver. Now Jim Colburn will come out and talk to his young pitcher. Sometimes you get those flamboyant pitchers that mistake is made behind them. And you got to remind them that, hey, just because a mistake's made behind you, you still have a responsibility. And that's not to let them score.
And that's the conversation right now, Al. Nobody warming up in the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals, LLC. Bottom of the 5th, 5-2 Cardinals. Runners at first and second with 1 out. And the batter is Yadier Molina. Let's see if you're Your theory holds true here with Molina. Runner in scoring position. He's been much better than with nobody on.
Now Cota going out there. I wonder if they're going to change the pitches there. Instead of like first sign or second sign, they'll reverse it. Do have a left-hander warming up.
Got 3 lefties in their bullpen. One of those being the closer, Gonzalez. Inning started with a walk by Jim Edmonds. Pujols drove him in with the double that fell in front of McLeod, the center fielder. Roland struck out. Encarnacion reached on the air. And now it's Yadier Molina with 1 out. Runners at first and second. Ooh, right on the pitch.
Graybo is the one warming up right now, but as you said, Molina ball out in front there, and he had a good rip at it. Albert, the consummate professional and cheerleader, and probably the highest paid cheerleader we know.
Not probably. He is. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Another good rip by Molina, but falls behind 0-2. You know, he's been frustrated.
Jason Bay has an average arm. Louth has a little better than average arm, and Jeremy Nitz, when he's awake, is a fairly strong right field arm.
Out to center. Pujols will tag up from second base. And the throw comes into the cutoff man. They let it go through to the second baseman, Sanchez, and Albert winds up at third. So runners at first and third for Hector Luna, who has hit the ball hard a couple of times and has a hit and an RBI to show for it. He's 1 for 2.
Talk about the error on the infield. You know, some pitchers go up there and said, okay, there's 2 outs, the error is 3rd out, so anything that happens right now is an unearned run. That's not good enough. You got to go out there and say, I'm good enough to show you that I can pitch around my fielder's mistakes.
First pitch to Luna. Hector gets the start at second base tonight. Tony La Russa has talked about his concentration at a much higher level here in the major leagues as opposed to even spring training, and what he has done in his history in the minor leagues. He's got all kinds of talent. The 0-1 pitch. Guy that can run, big body, strong arm, can play short, third, or the outfield, and obviously tonight playing second base.
The atmosphere at the major league level is very conducive to turning it up a notch. And now you got baseball heaven here, but you still got to learn how to do it in spring training.
Up the middle, that's a base hit for Luna, and it's 6-2 Cardinals as he ripped it. 2-hit night for Luna.
2 RBIs. Hector Luna just going to get more playing time with at-bats like this. Set up inside, but look with the glove. Goes up and out over the middle of the plate, just tomahawk back out there. There's our overpaid cheerleader. But Molina, Luna, those guys are some of Albert's favorites, and he's really helped them in their development as hitters.
There's Sho Taguchi. 2 more runs scored by Albert tonight, and he now has 21 on the season to go along with 12 home runs and 28 RBIs.
Remember, trying to become the first player ever to lead the league in runs scored 4 years in a row.
Here's Sho Taguchi in the 0-1 pitch. Ball's behind now, 0-2. Taguchi is at 2 for 2. There you see the pitches here in the bottom of the 5th, already 30 for Oliver Perez in the Cardinals half of the 5th. 80 total in this game.
50 in 2 innings.
6-2 Cardinals. Sho Taguchi down the left field line. Stay fair. Just foul. That could have played it too with the speed out there and Encarnacion and Luna.
Ball be coming right at you.
No balls, 2 strikes. And Ernie Hayes has got him going tonight. Nothing at 2, the count on Sotoguchi.
Ooh, good rip there.
Ball coming back to Perez off the backstop, and then the gun shown by the home plate umpire there, Al.
Mike Riley. Usually not appreciated when there's another ball in play, and you're going after that one.
6-2 Cardinals. Here comes an 0-2 pitch to Sotoguchi. Out to shallow right field. May bloop in there. It does. Encarnacion will score. Luna on his way to third, and it's 7-2 Cardinals. Another 2-out RBI, and Sotoguchi a 3-hit night.
He had his first multi-hit game in Pittsburgh, and he had 3 infield hits in that series. Effectively placed on this one over the infield and in front of Burnitz. A couple RBIs. And you see some of the high-priced talent very appreciative of Taguchi and Luna, different guys like that. You got some big backers behind him.
Carpenter is swinging a miss. He's 0 for 2 with the strikeout. Called out on strikes his first time up. Back in the second. And grounded to second. Runners at first and third. Box score for the Cardinals. Here in the bottom of the 5th, 7 runs. Cardinals have 10 hits.
Evans and Molina want to get in on the front.
Strikeout for Perez, so the air behind him costs him a couple of runs. Cardinals have opened up a 5-run lead. Cardinals with a 5-run lead as we move to the 6th inning. Sotoguchi with 3 hits tonight, the starting left fielder for the Redbirds. It's 7-2. Carpenter will see the bottom of the order. Let's see if we see a pinch hitter here for Perez. Here in the top of the 6th, it'll be Sanchez, Cota, and then Perez, who is 1 for 2 with a bunt single. They've had a left-hander up in their bullpen, and now a righty is getting loose. And along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Cardinals baseball here on FSN as Caps, their right-hander, gets loose. And it's 3-0.
I wouldn't think that Carpenter's going to go much further than maybe this 6th inning himself. See him have an efficient inning, but it's one of those games where it's been a strain as he's surrendered 8 hits. Several times they've left a couple men on, including the bases loaded back in the 4th inning. Really the only inning they've scored.
3-2 pitch is grounded foul. You go back to the last man that he saw, Randa, with runners at first and second, and he struck him out. He is a contact hitter, as you mentioned. 95 pitches now for Carpenter. Now Randa came in with probably the best percentages against Chris Carpenter. He had 9 hits in 32 plate appearances, so that was a key out for Carpenter to get Randa.
Well, the good ones will find a way when they're, backs up against the wall.
It's sharp lead to Roland. Nice play. Well, the Cardinals have cashed in with errors behind Oliver Perez tonight, but Pittsburgh has not been able to cash in with runners on. They have left 7 on here tonight. And when Carpenter has been in trouble, he's been pretty much able to get out of it. And that is also what the good ones do, Al.
That's right.
Pitching out of trouble.
Been a struggle here tonight, but you know, if you can struggle and go 6 innings, pick up a win. Chris Duffy is at the on-deck circle. Pinch hit for Perez.
1 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 1 strike on Humberto Cota. Rounder to second. Luna's there as Carpenter let it roll. And there's 2 outs, and you can close the book on Oliver Perez as Duffy will be the pinch hitter. Stop by the Tan Company and register to win Cardinals tickets in the Tan Company Cabana right here at Busch Stadium. Tickets include a premium and unique view of Busch. Stop by a salon, ask for details. It's the Tan Company. Chris Duffy, the pinch hitter with 2 outs, nobody on. So Perez goes 5 innings, 10 hits, 7 runs, 5 of those earned. Did allow the home run to Pujols. And here is Duffy. 8th round pickup back in 2001 for the Buccos. He slaps that foul and out of play. Hitting just 180, no home runs, and 3 RBIs on the season after being called up with 39 games to go. And Duffy really played well down the stretch. Hit .341. And he hits it to Scott Rowland. Hard hit, but the Cardinals' third baseman is there. So a nice 1-2-3 inning for Carpenter that very well could be all for him for tonight. Top of the order coming up. Eckstein, Edmonds, and Pujols as we move to the bottom of the 6th. St. Louis on top 7-2. 7-2 Cardinals as we play here in the bottom of the 6th, and Chris Carpenter at times was sharp, at other times, Al, it was a grind for him.
Well, a leadoff home run to Jason Bay, a hanging breaking ball, left it out over the plate, didn't really fool him much, but then he came back at a key time and gets a strikeout, maybe an off-speed pitch, change up right there, but you know, just fooled him on an off-speed pitch, a good location down and in.
A pitch-by-pitch feature brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers. Top of the order, here's David Eckstein to start it off for the Cardinals. Redbirds lead it 7-2 on a 10-hit attack, and they have knocked out Oliver Perez. His night is through. And Perez goes 5 innings, allows 7 runs, and 5 of those were earned. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Chevy. Matt Capps into the ball game, a right-hander appearing for the 8th time out of the Pittsburgh pen. Ties up David Eckstein, hit to second. And Eckstein is retired. That's how we start play in the Cardinals half of the 6th. Well, tomorrow we hope you tune in. The Pirates against the Cardinals. Our broadcast brought to you in high definition. The razor sharp clarity of HD. Check with your cable provider for more information and HD channel number. Catch the Cardinals in HD on FSN Midwest. Here's Jim Edmonds. And the first pitch is a strike. Edmonds walked and scored back in the 5th. He's also hit into a double play and popped out to left. Adam Wainwright, who has been fantastic getting loose in the bullpen. Can't say enough about the way that he's pitched.
No, and you could already see his role has expanded since leaving spring training, where instead of being a long man coming in trying to restore order, he's coming in to get valuable outs and victories.
Edmonds lifts this one to left field, backing up it's Bay, and he makes the grab. 2 outs, and it brings in Albert Pujols. Albert has homered tonight. He's popped out in foul territory to the first baseman Wilson. And he also picked up an RBI double, 2 for 3 on the night, hitting .349. Cardinals, Al, this season are 7-1 when Pujols homers and 1-3 when he fails to walk. Kind of an interesting look at it. As Albert pops this one out of play and foul. You just saw a shot at Chris Carpenter visiting with Jeff Suppan, tomorrow night's starter. And I'm sure they're talking about the Pirates lineup.
Sure, and you know, sometimes hitters have a different approach and pitchers have to make a little adjustment when you go back-to-back starts against the same team. But it's a very close-knit guys. They try to share information. You know, hey Chris, this is what I saw tonight. This guy did that. This guy was, was standing a little differently at home plate against you.
1-1 pitch. Albert gets a piece. And it's 1-2.
There's very little non-baseball talk in that dugout.
How about this guy when he's not at the plate, grabs a bat and just studies? Or if he's talking, more times than not, he's talking about the pitcher.
And that bat doesn't talk to you. His bat does do a lot of talking.
The 1-2, Pujols rips it. He's got such a huge base, strong legs, and a lot of his power, Al, is generated on that turn of the torque there.
Yeah, he's a rotation type hitter, but it all starts with balance in the base and not a lot of wasted movement at all.
And Pujols strikes out as they appeal down to first. And he is out. 7th inning coming.
Friday night, get a look around the major leagues with FSN Baseball Report. We're covering every team all season long with highlights, interviews, and analysis you won't get anywhere else. FSN Baseball Report, Friday at 6 p.m. right here on FSN Midwest. Our Cardinal bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. Adam Wainwright will appear for the 6th game. Look at the ERA, as he has been outstanding. And Dan, you may want to think about it with yesterday's ball game, Braden Looper going 2 innings. Maybe you call upon Adam for a couple innings in this game.
And the Cardinals coming into this season, I think, Al, at least out of spring training, we're looking at Adam Wainwright as being a long relief guy, but the way that he has dominated at times, Wainwright has moved into I think a greater role of importance out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and when he in spring training, I think they figured he'd step up to this role in the second half, but he has been so good and showing like they don't have to treat him with kid gloves, just turn him loose. He's got great stuff, and he can work his way into the rotation next season.
Hardy's hot pitch, and here it is, the breaking ball from Adam Wainwright. He's got a good one.
Well, it's a 12-6. He's got the height advantage. He's coming right over the top, and he's just got some nasty weapons and looks very determined when he's on the mound.
Fastball at 90 miles an hour. He pitched on Saturday, and the gun here at the ballpark a couple of times, that one at 93. But the one here at the ballpark a couple of times had him at 96. That one at 91 on our gun, 94 here at the park. So about a difference of 3 miles per hour.
Now, all night long, there's been 3 miles an hour variance where the stadium comes 3 miles higher. But you can just watch how determined. There's a 73 miles, 76 off-speed pitch. But he's very focused. He's getting enough. He's pitching on a frequent basis where he's loving it in the bullpen, having a chance to compete every day.
The 1-2 is hit to short, taken by David Eckstein, and there's 2 outs. Now you think about the trade that brought Wainwright to St. Louis, also brought Ray King. He had 2 serviceable years out of him. Obviously, Marquis has turned into a good pitcher here in St. Louis that really couldn't get over the hump in Atlanta. Eli Marrero no longer with the Braves, and J.D. Drew 1 season, and he's off with the Dodgers now. What a great deal.
Now carry it forward. Look what you got, Miles.
King
you got Big B, for Ray King. So, you've got to wait sometimes to evaluate trades a couple years down the road. But John Sherholtz even told me, he said, that was a good trade for both sides if we can re-sign J.D. Drew. And they weren't able to. And Walter, you look at most of his deals. He gets players for the current season, but he always has somebody there that's going to help you out down the road.
The 0-2 pitch by Wainwright is ripped foul. Wainwright in relief of Carpenter as he's trying to pick up his 3rd victory on the year. 7-2 Cardinals here in the top of the 7th. The 0-2 from Adam Wainwright. Nasty curveball, and Bay strikes out. Molina will apply the tag. What a curveball here from Adam Wainwright. 2 strikeouts in the inning, both finished off with this 12-6 breaking ball. Time to stretch here in St. Cardinals with a lead of 7-2 here in the bottom half of the 7th. Mary Jo Kopp is tonight's merchandise winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th, Mary Jo qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. As Roland hits it to second. Nice play. Off balance throw, and Wilson can't make the pick. Roland hustling all the way. Trying to go down to second base and out. A little aggressive there by Scott Roland, but he is gunned down at second base.
Freddie Sanchez trying to make a great play. The ball up the middle. Might have had a little more time than he thought, but off balance throw, and then Wilson not adept at scooping the ball up. Had a little truer hop, and Scotty just turned and started running.
So it's a base hit, and then he's thrown out at second.
Yeah. Oh, it was a base hit.
Gave a base hit.
Good. And then Cota, backing up the play, got the carom in front of the dugout and threw him out at second.
Here's Juan Encarnacion. One ball, one strike on Juan Encarnacion. Mike Helling, our producer tonight, our Bud Productions crew, along with Tom Mee, Doug Stanton, Lindsey Polite, and the rest of the gang. Jeannie Andrews. Chicago, 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and now they lead Florida in the 9th, 6-3. Carlos Zambrano, 7 innings, and he struck out 12. Jock Jones with a 3-run homer. Cincinnati, a win over Washington 4-2. Terrible start for the Washington Nationals. David Weathers, his 5th save. Ramirez goes 7 innings. And Cincinnati picked up their 4 runs in the first 2, and they beat Washington 4-2. 1-1 in the bottom of the 7th between Milwaukee and Atlanta. Jeff Jenkins steals home in the 4th in that game. And Houston and the Dodgers tied up at 1. That's in the 8th. A swing and a miss by Encarnacion. J.D. Drew with a solo home run in that game. Andy Pettitte, 7 innings and 5 strikeouts for the Astros. Astros are playing good baseball, Al. They're 13-5, but they have played the likes of Florida, Washington, Pittsburgh obviously struggling. Milwaukee a better team, but they have not played the upper echelon teams just yet.
And I guess you got to look at it 2 different ways. Remember, they've gotten off to terrible starts and then battled back in the second half. Will someone be able to catch them in between? Or will it be kind of the opposite? Play real well and expect to have that second half, and then it's not there. They've had a lot of things going right for them so far, too.
I think a lot of it depends on Mr. Clemens and whether or not he wants to come back as the Cardinals go 1-2-3. And we have played 7. Cardinals lead it by 5 runs. Hayes from the Helitech Sports Desk, and they'll be at the Helitech Sports Desk following the game tonight. Josh Hancock appearing for the 9th time this season. ERA that is under 4 in his 9 2/3 innings pitched. And how about the job by Adam Wainwright, Al? He was dominant.
He's outstanding. You know, in many ways you'd like to see him get this 8th inning, but just keep on easing him out there. Just make it everything positive, and it was a positive outing, striking out 2 of 3 going through the heart of the order, or 1, 2, 3 in the order.
MLB TV, a chance for you whenever you travel to watch the Cardinals on your PC. MLB.tv. You can find that at STLCardinals.com. Going to be Craig Wilson, Jeremy Burnitz, and Joe Randa for the Pirates here in the 8th. Wilson tonight has walked and singled on base twice. He's also grounded out to third. 38,953 in attendance tonight. Luna, the second baseman, on the outfield grass near the bag. Outfield is deep and straight away. The next from Hancock, and he hits him. something that you'll see a lot from with Craig Wilson. He is hit by pitches all the time. A happy manager down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's you hit a runner, you walk a man, you try and leads to a big inning. You're up by 5. Trying to get through this 8th inning before you go to Izzy, or yet to be determined if it's a non-save situation.
Here's Burnitz with a base hit tonight. He was yawning and right earlier, and our cameras caught him.
There's cameras all over the place. They're going to catch you.
That's right. You're allowed to yawn, though, Al. It happens. Ask our viewers.
That's good.
No balls, 2 strikes on Burnitz. Fastball just misses. Figure by having Wainwright only go 1 inning tonight, if need be, he could bounce back tomorrow.
Well, I think they're still in that infancy stages as a reliever. That you just ideally want to give him at least 1 day off, but you would not have any problems bringing him back on Wednesday.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Cardinals will finish up their homestand with Washington starting on Thursday night. Boy, the Nationals really off to a poor start.
Well, I talked to some people in spring training, and they felt that Girardi, Florida's new manager, could be manager of the year if they won 70 games. And they said the Nationals may not win that many.
Wow.
But it's just how they were assessing things, scouts in spring training. And we know there's some capable players on both teams.
1 out runner at first, and here is Randa. Cardinals would love a double play to send this to the bottom half of the 8th. Of course, Washington loses again tonight. They lost last night to Atlanta on Sunday Night Baseball. A late home run. Randa out to deep right field. Encarnacion over, and he'll make the catch.
One of the high percentage bets is to bet that a Florida Marlin will be the Rookie of the Year.
I would have thought it would be Media, but he got hurt early on, so you figure just
they got
go
about
down the
10
list.
more chances.
Just go down the list.
Yeah, they got about 10 more players to pick from.
A lot of rumors that Dontrell Willis and Miguel Cabrera could be moved before the trade deadline, which is still months away.
And what are we still looking at the possibility of San Antonio?
That's right. 2 outs, runner at first. Jeffrey Lurie on opening day for them invited, not their home opener, but their opening day, invited officials from San Antonio to be at the game against
Houston.
the Astros.
Yeah.
Molina down on 1 knee. Out to deep left field off the bat of Freddie Sanchez. At the wall, and it's caught by Taguchi. So Taguchi with the catch in left. He was running out of real estate. Who is the best prospect in the Cardinals minor league system? Our singular wireless Who's Raising the Bar. And you have voted, and the answer goes to John Gall. And John Gall has been tearing up pitching. It is tough, Al, though, for a guy like John Gall to break through in the major leagues and stick when you've got a team that's winning championship after championship. You got Walker out there, Edmonds, Reggie Sanders. So Taguchi obviously has found a home off the bench for the Cardinals. Luna, a guy that is going to dig in here and lead it off in the Cardinals half of the 8th. He has found a home off the bench, can play the outfield. It's a tough spot to be in.
But you know what? Sometimes the odd man out in spring training catches a break because he goes and plays every day, gets off to a hot start as the guys being platoon, fall by the wayside. But Taguchi, a good night in left field for the Cardinals. Another good night for Hector Luna.
Good catch out and left by So Taguchi. Damaso Marte, the new pitcher, a lefty, one of 3 in the bullpen for the Pirates. And the count is 1 ball, 1 strike on Hector Luna, who's hitting now .407 in limited spot duty so far in the first month of the season.
This is Marte's second stint with Pittsburgh. Had a little time in 01 with him. Also been with Seattle, and he picked last year, about the last 4 years, to be with the right team, Chicago White Sox.
Luna, a pair of RBIs tonight. If you're just joining us, the Cardinals scored in the first, 3 in the second. As Luna hits this one into shallow right field, it'll be taken by Burnitz. Basket catch by Burnitz. Cardinals also scored 3 in the 5th. Albert Pujols is homer tonight, and he's got a pair of RBIs and 2 runs scored. You can see that Burnitz is calling for it.
Yeah, and Sanchez, earlier got in that little bump with Craig Wilson around the mound, and resulted in the only error of this ball game. But there he didn't vacate the area and get out of the way of Burnitz either.
Cardinals have hit 2 batters tonight. McLeod to start the game by Carpenter, and then Hancock hit Craig Wilson. That one inside to So Taguchi. 1 ball, no strikes.
Careful. Master black belt.
So Taguchi?
I'm just trying to set the rumor.
All right.
So's too nice.
2 balls and no strikes. Ford key matchup. We talked about at the start of the telecast how the outfielders have fared offensively. Season 211, last in the major leagues tonight, 4 for 10.
And picked up some valuable RBIs.
How about the defense? The diving catch by Encarnacion in right, and the play to end the top of the 8th by So Taguchi in left.
You have 2 RBIs tonight and 2 hits by Luna, 3 hits and 2 RBIs by Taguchi.
Called out on strikes as he was backing away. Tonight's play of the game is brought to you by Budweiser. Juan Encarnacion with his diving catch in right. It's your Budweiser play of the game. And Josh Hancock will hit for himself. Strike 1 on Hancock, who has seen some plate appearances as he was a starter for a little bit.
Might have been interesting to just ask Tony if he had any thoughts of maybe going 3 innings with Wainwright today to pick up a 3-inning save. But with no off day on Thursday, that might have been part of that decision-making process as to why not.
Right down the middle, and Hancock is called out on strikes. 9th inning from St. Louis is coming up. Let's take a look at tonight's game recap, and it's brought to you by Jack in the Box as Chris Carpenter is in line for the victory. If the Cardinals can hold on, he'll go to 3-1. Albert Pujols with his league-leading 12th home run. He's also scored a couple of runs, a couple of RBIs, and Pujols now with 28 RBIs in the month of April. Diving catch by Juan Encarnacion was our play of the game. From that catch to that play. How about So Taguchi last inning? Final out back in the 8th. That's your game recap brought to you by Jack in the Box. St. Louis with a lead of 7-2 and trying to make it 3 of 4 against the Pirates this year. And the first pitch is a ball thrown by Josh Hancock in his 2nd inning of work. He pitched yesterday and trying to do 2 innings here tonight. Cardinals with a lead of 7-2 here in the 9th. Humberto Cota is the hitter. Check swing. And a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Mike Edwards going to pinch hit behind Cota.
Cardinals with 11 hits tonight. There's a grounder. Diving play by Eckstein. Enough to get a glove on it, but a base hit. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Chevrolet. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer today. Chevy and American Revolution. And by Advance Auto, we're ready in advance. So leadoff hit for Cota, and it brings in Edwards. Mike Edwards. Hancock, the third pitcher used by the Cardinals tonight. If the Cardinals hold on, they go to 12-7. And the Pirates would drop to 5-16. 5-16.
Looks like the Cardinals are going to have to hold on and stay pace as Houston. I think they're in the ninth, but they have taken a 2-1 lead over LA.
And they have. Some flashes up here on the scoreboard at Busch Stadium. 2 balls and no strikes. What have you thought of Josh Hancock, not just tonight, Al, but I guess coming out of spring training, one of the big surprises for the Cardinals?
Yeah, he pitched one of the better games 2 years ago against the Cardinals as a starter, and he had a good relief outing. He missed most of last season for Cincinnati with a groin pull. A gift as he came to St. Louis after his release from Cincinnati. Cardinals were the only team to call him and then to make this team. So he's very serviceable. You know, he can fill many different roles. Watch at times guys take some real funky swings so they don't pick up his ball.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Hit out to right. Encarnacion near the line, and he'll make the catch. Jim Hayes will come to you from the Helitech Sports Desk here at Busch Stadium, and we'll have the Busch Light Midwest Sports Report coming up. Complete post-game wrap-up. As we're 2 outs away, it's 7-2. Nate McLeod, the leadoff man tonight, with Duffy off the bench as a pinch hitter. Pujols will play back behind the runner with a left-handed bat up. That's strike 1. Lance Berkman, a solo home run for Houston, and it's 2-1 in the top of the ninth.
He's had a good start to the season.
Sure has. Along with Morgan Ensberg as well. Good pitch. Took something off at 0-2. And Brad Lidge is into the ball game for the Astros. Got a hex on him. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss and a strikeout.
It worked, yeah.
For Hancock.
He's a Cardinal fan. Thought we were going to get to see the hex, but see, that's where I say a lot of guys swinging over the top of his off-speed pitch, have trouble locating it.
Crowd comes alive in anticipation of the final out. 2 outs here in the ninth, and the pitch is low and away.
See Jack Wilson usually 0 for 4.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Game will continue with a base hit into right for Wilson. Cota on his way to third. It'll be first and third with 2 outs. And Jason Bay, the hitter. Right-hander getting loose now in the Cardinals bullpen. Let's check out Cota rounding second base and picking up his third base coach.
No way. No way.
Al, it has happened. Mark it down. There it is.
Look at how absolutely outstanding. Saw the ball went through. Never took his eye off his third base coach, Jeff Cox, other than to look down and make sure he stepped on the second base bag. It's Izzy warming up in case this inning gets extended to a save situation.
Bay is homer tonight. Izzy getting loose.
Need one more base runner, or it would be a save situation.
Crowd comes alive again with 2 outs, runners at first and third. Pitch misses low and in. Bay tonight with that home run. It's a solo shot to lead off the fourth against Chris Carpenter. That was really the only trouble he had, was he allowed 5 hits in a 2-run fourth inning for the Buccos. Pitch sharply to the shortstop, Eckstein. Good play to his right, and the Cardinals win it. They're 12-7 on the year. Carpenter goes to 3-1. We'll step aside for just a moment. Cardinals win it 7-2. Pujols goes deep again. We'll wrap it up right after. 7-11-0 for St. Louis. 2-10-1 for the Pirates. A little different Chris Carpenter tonight against the Buccos, Al, but the same result with the win.
Well, we talk about it. If you're good, you can win at any time. He didn't have his best stuff, but he's such a tough competitor and battler. He made pitches when he needed to.
Cardinal Baseball is produced by Bud Productions and an exclusive presentation of FSN Midwest. The next Cardinals broadcast tomorrow right here on FSN Midwest will come your way at 6:30 with the pregame show. Midwest Sports Report is coming up. For Oliver Perez and our Bud Productions crew, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Post-game show coming up here on FSN.